Welcome one and all to another amazing night here in Tranquility.
We absolutely are in for a treat of a match here tonight, no question about it.
And the grenades from Pomku eliminating everybody on the field.
Now I'm between something as well is going to be applied as a death blossom, and it's going to be huge. Fighting three.
The double kill with the Bastion ulti? Alright, I see you guys.
For B-Well, look to find a stick there, finds the stick, they find two with it!
Those who find the picks will save the fight, and they don't really need to save what they've already won.
And Cam puts the four-man punch off the map!
Experience tranquility.
Hello and welcome. It's Tranquility. It's another fantastic night of some fantastic Overwatch. It's nighttime. It's Transcendence here, CB. How do you feel about that?
I'm feeling pretty good. How you guys all doing today? Yeah, we're casting another Transcendence tier game. This time, Amnesia going up against Classified. Amnesia is a squad that I did have the pleasure of casting in the preseason finals. They fell to the Guangzhou Gangsters, a tournament that unfortunately Classified were not a part of, so I don't really have all that much data on them other than the fact that they fell to Wyverns last week. So I'm looking for this to be kind of a statement game for the Classified squad, and I'm also looking for Amnesia to kind of keep some of the momentum going that they had in the previous week and in that preseason finals.
Yeah, one could say that Classified is pretty classified right now. Amnesia starting off strong with the season with already kind of a win in the books, so it really is going to be quite the match for everybody to see.
Yeah, I would consider myself an Amnesia fan as well after what I saw from them last week. But hey, if you are an Amnesia fan, chat, be sure to hit exclamation store in the chat here, and you can check out the Tranquility merch, including including merch for all of the teams. You know, maybe you're a Classified stan and you want to rep them. Now's your time to get yourself a nice Classified hoodie. Don't tell anybody about it because it's Classified. You know, any other teams or just the Tranquility logo because it's baller AF. So be sure to hit exclamation store. Check that one out. I've been told by production I have to say that, so I will.
Absolutely. Hey, there's also aprons being sold, just for one team, I believe, but that was browsing the store, do plan to buy something, and holy smokes, we are heading to Antarctic Venezuela, and I pronounced it like that because in Spanish class in like high school, there was a song for learning all the countries in Spanish, and Venezuela, Caracas, Venezuela, so I do like this map, however.
I think I might have had that same song.
Oh, dude, hey, let's go.
It like very specific parts of it ring a bell, but anyway, I'm not going to talk too much about Managua, Nicaragua. We're going to Antarctic Peninsula. You know, it's still the newest map in the rotation, a map that a lot of these teams are still trying to figure out, but I think a lot of teams are trying to finally try and lean a little bit more towards brawl comps, which is something that I do know that Amnesia excels at. So on at least two of these points, I do expect to see a Reinhardt rush coming out, and on some of these other points, or, you know, potentially some other options, we might see like Wrecking Ball, we might see some Ramatra, or potentially some Junker Queen. A lot of different variations here.
Oh yeah, the Antarctic Venezuela is crazy because each map, even though it may look similar because it's like, you know, like iceberg, it's ice, but each one has such intricacies and such details about like the like going inside, outside, the high grounds, especially the point play. So yeah, things like maybe some ball, maybe some Reinhardt, but we'll also see some variation in the DPS, and I think a lot of the gameplay is going to be centered around the kind of mechanics for everybody.
Yeah, Overwatch 2 is a very frontline favored game. It's all about the DPS and who is able to get the most value, but there's also that tank 1v1 that you have to look for all the time here. My eyes are mostly going to be on Nick and Prime over on the Classified side to see if they are the ones who end up making the difference, whereas Amnesia Star Platinum was that spearhead in their rush comps, but it looks like they're opting for something a little bit more Doom-centric currently. We'll see if that sticks or if that's just a little bit of troll, but yeah, it looks like what they are indeed going to roll out with.
Hey, Jotaro packs a punch, and so Doomfist is the perfect choice for this, especially when you've got Lucio Kiriko, and oh man, and a Tracer. So yeah, we were talking about a difference in like kind of composition. So it looks like we're gonna have something like a Brawl versus something that is more diving. And it looks like that Brawl has already taken the floor of the high ground.
A big slam comes out, but it's met with a charge from Dad, and Nick gonna go ahead and clean that one right up with that magnetic grenade. And just as quickly as he came in, Star Platinum is sent right back to the spawn, and I think that's going to be a quick and easy first point cap for Classified.
Yeah, I think the main kind of theme right there was the high ground right there. Classified starting out strong on top of it, and when you've got a Mei, you kind of have the advantage of wherever you're gonna go. You have the structure, you have the balance of that composition. It's gonna be hard for Amnesia to really crack this, especially given how hard Classified is keeping that high ground.
Yeah, it's gonna be it's definitely going to be a battle for that high ground, but Classified looks like they already are going to indeed give that up because they want to try and maintain control of the point, go for the contest here. As they start to approach some of these more crowd control centric ults, the Blizzard and the Earth Shatter, they're going to be looking to try and let those rip on the point, but they're not even going to need him because Nick just takes Saga clean out. Immortality Field does come out to keep everybody from Classified alive and well, but they step just a little bit too far off the point, and Amnesia actually do flip it. Nick is still finding some picks though, so they're not going to be able to hold it for long, but this is kind of a little bit of a, fly in the soup, so to speak, for them, as they've kind of conceded a little bit more percentage than they'd be comfortable giving, and they do indeed lose Nick, but I think the picks are still kind of favoring them. They just kind of have to clear some of these people out. Unfortunately, giving up roughly 20%, whereas they would already be at that 50% threshold had they not just, stepped just a little bit too far back.
That's true, and that was a very interesting fight. It looked like Amnesia had a lot more control than they actually had. Yes, they did have that, 20% to the point, but after the Classified was just on that kind of low ground, Amnesia was really trying to look for any kind of opening. Classified is doing really, really well. It's sticking together, really playing around their supports really, really well, and now the ultimates are going to come out.
Yeah, or just one ultimate. All you really need is an Earth Shatter. When you put two people flat on their back, that's really the only thing you need. So a one ultimate investment is plenty, just enough to win that fight, and they can go retreat back to the high ground and keep the percentage ticking back up as it should have after that past fight.
Classified keeping their cards tight to their chests here. It's very difficult for Amnesia to really go about this, but with Luca coming up on Kitsune Rush, it may give them the sort of advantage to really get a brawl into them, get a dive into them. The wall from Prime does come out, but it looks like the punch is going to come out from Star Platinum, same as the aggression.
Yeah, and then there's that Meteor Strike to try and stomp some of these players out on their exit there, though. The Deadeye does come out, but everybody is off the point trying to deal with this Doomfist, and he gets out with a sliver of HP, and again, Amnesia kind of snaked the point out from underneath Classified, despite, still having the numbers to be able to hold this, and as well as the ults. Like, they have the Blizzard, and they might need to invest it just to regain control of the point, but Amnesia going to go ahead and pop that Death Blossom coupled with the Kitsune Rush, and that should be enough to sweep everybody up right off their feet. Dad going to hang on here with that Immortality Field courtesy of Clock, but Clock is going to get clocked by Star Platinum, and that's going to be an actual fight win for Amnesia, and off of that, they're already at about 50%.
Yeah, the aura's coming out, and now, hey, you've got a Pulse Bomb. You do have this kind of opening, this advanced suppress. It looks like Amnesia's more of a momentum-based team. Their front line isn't really just like, oh, let's just go head-to-head with Dad on the Reinhardt. No, they try and play this kind of very separated. As you can see, they're already getting set up for somewhat of a pincer maneuver.
Yeah, Prime does have that Blizzard there. I'm looking for that to potentially come out, and Saga needs to be Johnny on the spot here with that sound barrier once that does come out, but it looks like they're actually going to let it pop a little preemptively when they see the window come out because they want to try and keep everybody alive in the fight. Blizzard does come out. Star Platinum has the exit button in the form of that Meteor Strike, and an Ice Block is going to keep Prime alive in the fight. Corviknight falls to a magnetic grenade there, and the charge Dad pins Star Platinum right up against the wall, and that should be Classified, flipping this point back over at about 90% for Amnesia.
That was one of the most beautiful ultimate trades I've seen. Coming out from both teams, it was very well weighted. The Mei from Classified is doing a really good job at really.
Oh no!
Oh wow, yeah. I don't know how this stall is gonna go. There's no ultimates. There's no real ultimates for Amnesia either.
Yeah, that Classified, I mean, they already have the wing condition, taking out that late pickoff onto Luca. There's not enough healing to really sustain much of anybody. Amnesia, they need to be swift here, but they're not quite there. They are losing members every time they try and get close to the point, and Classified do indeed clean up, and they're going to take the first one 100 to 90.
Yeah, Amnesia is finding it very difficult to really go into classified. You've got Nick and the Mei player, which is a lot more HP for a Tracer to really chew through. But not only just HP, it's very hard to play around those targets, especially when you've got Reaper, who's going to be mainly sticking with the Doomfist. Yeah, it looks like Amnesia's going to go for a bit of a composition swap here, but I think the main kind of theme for both of these teams, it's going to be coming down to how the supports play around each other.
Yeah, I am glad that we're actually seeing the swap off of that Doomfist. I don't want to see that hero ever again. Personally, I just have a vendetta against Doomfist. I hate that character so much. But I also didn't like the way that Amnesia was playing it. It wasn't really all that effective. You know, they had a pretty solid comp around it with the Kiriko to try and use the Suzus to give him some get-out-of-jail-free cards, but it doesn't really help when he's already getting bursted down and then pinned to the wall by Dad with some of those shoulder charges over and over again, and where Dad is just free farming up these Earth Shatters off the Hammer Swings left and right. A big Fire Strike comes out from Star Platinum, though, so a lot of early damage coming in favor of Amnesia, but Classified have already kind of taken a positional advantage here on the point, so once it unlocks, they're going to have to force some movement out here from Amnesia. We're going to have to come in and try and make the contest here, and they do. The wheels come out for Speedy on that Bastion, and that's actually going to flip the teams around, do a little do-si-do around the point there, and suddenly it's Amnesia that are going to be able to get first cap as Classified is forced to take cover.
Yeah, now that the Brawl sort of compositions, these front lines are really going to be having more of an actual war. Prime on this Mei is going to be a really big crucial factor. As you can see, 2 walls have been very crucial in both of these fights, and there's now some some kills coming in.
Yeah, quite a few kills coming in. Mostly that was, you know, that early pickoff onto Speedy, and then Nick cleaning that up with a few other ones. Unfortunately, Corviknight does drop a live grenade upon death there, a little martyrdom to take him out there. But you can take that, you know, as long as you get control of the point, and only 16% for Amnesia. That's pretty quick to flip it.
Yeah, no, last round as well, I was actually not expecting Amnesia to cap the point and hold it that long. Classified is just so strong in their like stability and the structure. It looks like, okay, it looks like Amnesia's going to take a different approach, but there's a wall right on that point, and holy smokes, that was fast.
Yeah, a window, as a matter of fact, and Window Fire Strike is one hell of a combo now. Lest I remind you that Ryan's Fire Strike did indeed make that Window Fire Strike combo a one-shot on Squishies. It wasn't enough to take down Speedy in one hit, but a little bit more follow-up damage was indeed there, and 2 quick easy picks. Amnesia sent back to spawn to reevaluate themselves.
Yeah, it looks like Speedy was going to go for a swap there, but it looks like ultimate charge is coming in. Amnesia are confident in this next push. I think it's going to be coming down to the kind of shatters, but again, the DPS for both of these teams have been very, very gambly as to how they can really go about winning it. Looks like Star Platinum finds the first pick, though.
Yeah, but that's going to be a huge shatter as well. That's a 4K for Star Platinum, the star of the show. That's early pickoff there came out onto RMM, and that was absolutely massive. I don't know if he would have been able to get to that sound barrier, but had he have it, that might have actually meant none of those shattered enemies would have resulted in kills, but huge play to be able to take out that Lucio early.
Yeah, and you can guarantee that Corviknight with that Symmetra barrier is going to be very crucial, especially with Prime coming up on a Blizzard. But it looks like Amnesia's going to really bunker down on that kind of high ground. They have Speedy on the Bastion, so they have this kind of advantage, and they're playing for ultimate charge, it seems.
Yeah, and they're going to get Luca's going to get a wealth of it off of Star Platinum there, and Amnesia, they have a wealth of ultimates to work with now. They're going to go ahead and open up with this Mortar Strike, this artillery dropping in right on top, going to get a lot of damage out, and the sound barrier is going to come out from RMM to keep everybody alive, but that's before a lot of the offensive ults really start to come out. Here comes the window, and Clock, Nick, RMM, Prime, all going to fall. That's a 3K for Speedy. That is a swift fight win, but they did invest in nearly everything they had to do it.
Yeah, I am a little bit scared about that. Prime did not use Blizzard, and Clock now has a window, which has been, you know, pretty deadly so far. And we're just gonna have to play this a little, pretty smart, considering that they already like kind of seem pretty educated on this point. You know, holding the high ground, the kind of rotation. They're really trying to play for this bunker style, which I'm kind of scared of, considering, you know, the Blizzard.
Yeah, if you're Amnesia right now, the win condition is play slow, build shatter, and hit it, but you can't really, you know, you can't really play all that slow with the threat of that Blizzard on the field, but Star Platinum does hit a juicy Fire Strike, has that Earth Shatter if he needs it, and that is gorgeous! Oh my goodness! This guy is insane with these Fire Strikes today. The star of the show, as I already said once before, but it bears repeating. Nick trying to get out with his life. Can't quite escape. Yeah, Star Platinum does chase him down, and that is a hero play if ever there was one. And Amnesia clapped back with a nice 100 on Icebreaker.
Yeah, completely stopped time right there. Some could say. I was very scared of that Blizzard. Didn't even get the chance to use it. I don't think necessarily Classified were ready for that sort of aggression coming out from the front line of Amnesia, because so far Amnesia's been very, very momentum based, very swingy, and then very pendulum-y because they had that kind of Bastion, the kind of Symmetra, which is very, abstract from the Prime on May. But now it looks like Amnesia's going for a total mirror.
Yeah, we're swapping off of the Sim and the Bastion onto that Cassidy and that May. And honestly, you know, all of these heroes are just different flavors of trying to grief the Reinhardt. You know, you put the May wall up behind him and try and hard focus him down, or you use the Bastion to just melt his shield like butter. Either way, the Reinhardt's having a bad time, but I guarantee you Star Platinum is not having a bad time. He's having a grand time. He's having a blast, and no one can really stop him. It's kind of up to Dad to start blocking some of these. Now that we're on this Reinhardt mirror, the early wall does come out, as is a magnetic grenade from Nick, but it doesn't really find much of anything. Amnesia, they have the feet. They can just kind of back themselves up a little bit, reassess everything. They use the Immortality Field perhaps a little bit early there, though, and that might come back to bite them. I'm not sure if Classified popped theirs as well. In fact, I think they did, but Star Platinum getting very, very low, able to retreat around the wall just barely, but there are people all around him. Dad, though, with a shatter there, gonna go and knock a couple players back on their feet, but not enough to follow up to get anything off of that one. So an early ultimate down the drain. Amnesia able to weather that storm. They have a window, and they're gonna go ahead and take a high ground approach here. Dueling windows, actually, from both sides. The fire strikes come out, but everyone is already kind of head for the hills on the side of Amnesia, so Dad not going to find anything with that fire strike. They are still ticking up the capture percentage, but we're just kind of jockeying for position on the high ground here. Neither team really making a move. We're at a stalemate, and this stalemate is going to favor Classified. All these ults have been expended, and no one has died yet.
Yeah, the fight for that high ground was actually just terrifying. I was actually honestly kind of speechless. The ultimate charges from all Classified came out so fast. Luca? That's a classic right there. But Classified. But Amnesia came up on a lot of alt charts after that. Now they're oh man, the aggression is just going to be pressed from that. That is actually very unfortunate. But Amnesia do have the ability to come back. It is only at 50%.
I feel really bad for Luca that had to be the first blood at this point, was just falling off the map there. And, you know, the rest of Amnesia just kind of get flabbergasted, and everybody just charges up that May wall. They do end up cleaning up Corviknight. Now that they're back at full strength, though, unfortunately, this is going to be their first real attempt since that one high ground fight at about 70%, so this is do or die already for Amnesia. They need to make some magic happen here, and Star Platinum has the Earth Shatter. He's going to go ahead and let it go. It only catches Dad, but the resources are there to keep him alive. They invest the Deadeye, the Immortality Field, and the Sound Barrier. But Corviknight on the other side with the Deadeye of his own. Prime actually going to take him out. Says, no, it is not high noon. Check your watch again, buddy. Speedy, last one on the point currently. We're at 88% and ticking for Classified, and they might actually be able to close this one out. Can anyone from Amnesia touch? Star Platinum has to swap back to the Doomfist and might be able to get a touch. Goes for a punch there, but actually going to take the low ground approach. I don't think he's actually going to make it. He actually does, just barely off of the seismic slam, but the blizzard comes out, and that's going to keep him a little bit on his toes, make him not want to touch there. He ends up getting counterpinned and cleaned up by Clock, but Saga in the backline takes out Clock. Is that going to be enough? That is pretty big. Speedy actually does come out with the blizzard as well. This might be some clutch play coming out from Amnesia. Dad does fall, courtesy of Corviknight on the Tracer there. Made the swap to try and get back a little bit quicker, and actually does get the cleanup. Luca invests that Immortality Field, but it gets melted and falls. Star Platinum is back yet again on the Doomfist, and some of the health bars are a little bit low. Prime actually going to get cleaned up. It's just him and Corviknight against the world right now. Nick falls, as does Corviknight, and it's just Star Platinum on the point, and they do flip it.
What a journey. Amnesia has come full circle, going back to the kind of composition they were running on that first kind of point with something more divey, and in that amount of time they've built up ultimates. It's been very, very back and forth. This is a new map, and I'm learning tons. This is basically the college of Overwatch right now, and Amnesia they do have the ultimate advantage, but again and again and again, those ultimate advantages don't really amount to a lot if Classified gets a really good hold on this high ground.
Yeah, but Corviknight gonna get a huge pulse bomb. The Immortality Field came out from Clock, but it was not enough to keep Nick alive in the fight, and that's gonna be a swift, easy fight win for Amnesia. They did also invest the window there, though. So before this, they were kind of stuck on this composition, but now they actually do have a little bit of breathing room to go back and swap, and they do get Star Platinum back over onto that Reinhardt. So we're back at something resembling a mirror, but with a slight deviation in DPS.
Yeah, it looks like Amnesia's cooking something a little bit new, and with not a lot of ultimates, that's going to be exactly what may be the recipe for a win over here. Classified has that shatter, so it looks like Amnesia might actually be able to kind of block that, maybe actually press an advantage around these kind of pulls on this point. It looks like already Classified's going to be setting up on the point with a window.
Oh no, the fire! The Earth Shatter goes right into the pillar there. Star Platinum oiled himself up, made himself too slippery, just slipped right around the corner. They couldn't catch him. They're trying to finish him off, though. They've put a lot of damage into him, and they do inevitably finish him off. The Blizzard gonna come out from Prime, and I think the ult advantage for Classified is just too tall of a mountain to climb, especially considering the valley that Amnesia put themselves in early on in this matchup, and it's going to be Classified taking Antarctic Peninsula.
I'm gonna just completely. First of all, first map shenanigans. Second of all, I'm gonna complete. Like, holy smokes! I have not seen a lot of Antarctic Venezuela gameplay. This was absolutely tarantula. Like, holy smokes! There was a lot of back and forth. But there was also a lot of plays from Amnesia to try and take the point. When it seemed like kind of the point progress that they would get, something like 20% or like 40% in that first kind of round, it seemed like that wasn't actually like something that was a win condition at all, because it seemed like Classified, they were just staring at the point progress go up as they just held that structure. They were so comfortable with that Mei composition.
Yeah, the Mei composition definitely does seem to be king in a lot of these situations. You know, just being able to wall off your targets, isolate them, and give that focus fire is so much more beneficial than most other compositions. We did see, you know, Amnesia be successful with the Bastion on the on Icebreaker, but I mean, they eventually did end up swapping off of that. And again, like, I feel like Amnesia is a really, really strong Brawl team. I've seen good things coming out from them in these Rhine mirrors. Classified, you know, showing a lot of good Brawl as well. But I feel like Amnesia just kind of made a couple key mistakes on their side of things. You know, Luca, you know, didn't watch out for banana peels that were left near the side of the map. You know, happens to the best of us. You know, sometimes, you know, your inner Mario Kart strikes and you just fall right off Rainbow Road. And then for how long it took for them to find any picks, find any sort of ingress onto the point at all after conceding that early progress onto Classified, you know, they had, like I said, they put themselves in a valley. They really had to dig themselves out of a hole, and they did a phenomenal job weathering the storm, but eventually the storm came crashing down a little too hard when the ult advantage from Classified just became too much of a task.
Yeah, I think the kind of all advantages came in really easily for Classified because they were running so close together. And I think what Amnesia, it seems to be very much more comfortable in a diving scenario where they kind of play around people. And so anything with Amnesia that has to do, they have to attack into the opponent. They have to attack, and they don't really have something to reflex to themselves on unless, like, you know, a map, you know, promotes that sort of comfortability. So it looked like Amnesia was kind of giving a lot of ultimate charges in a lot of different scenarios. The kind of rotations that they wanted to make as a group were kind of caught off guard or like too slow by the time, you know, a Blizzard came out, or something like a High Noon could even be so useful as to zone them, not even have to get a pick necessarily. And as well as the tank play, as I mentioned earlier how important that was going to be, that was very important. Star Platinum popped off in a lot of different scenarios, but again, the kind of tank play from Amnesia is something that you can try and do it as much as a team as you want, but again, it seems like Amnesia is more of a good at doing solo kind of tasks.
Yeah, I want to see them coalesce a little bit more together as a team, because that felt like, again, like team errors. Because you look at Star Platinum and how well he was playing on the Reinhardt, especially on Icebreaker, and even, you know, a lot of the plays that he was able to make, you know, on that last point as well. I do like seeing Star Platinum on this Reinhardt. I think that's a good hero for him, and I think that's what we need to stick with going forward. I don't want to see this Doomfist anymore. You know, I can forgive it coming out at the end because, you know, you're just trying to get the stall, and it was a miracle that they're able to come out and get the flip at all. But, you know, once you're kind of stuck on that, and you know, he does eventually go back and switch over to the Reinhardt again, which good play there. But the unfortunate thing is that ult advantage, you know, after all the swaps and all the investments that you made to try and get there, and that again just goes back to that team play. Their team play was not what it needed to be. I think skill wise, they look to be the better. I don't want to say the better team. The better individual players, but the sum of their parts is just was not there on Antarctic Peninsula.
You know what I'm very grateful for? We're heading into King's Row, something that's not control, and most importantly, not Antarctic Venezuela. I think we'll get to see how Star Platinum's like we'll get to see him like pop off, but I think that popping off is going to be more helpful, more received by the rest of the team, more encouraged by the rest of the team in a lot more efficient ways on Kings Row, especially given how much of a Reinhardt map it is. And so I think it's going to be more of a bit of an even ground here. Classified might even be in a bit of danger considering they can run that May Cassidy composition again, but Amnesia are going to be very, very prepared for what Classified's going to bring to the table, as they've had like 3 rounds to really get a good feel of it, especially when Kings Row can you can play something like dive, you can play something like a mix of dive, and you can really have this variety that can really be good at really taking out specific targets at specific times.
I'm a firm believer that you can play anything on Kings Row and get away with it, but I'm pretty sure that the reason that it got picked here was because the teams want to run Rhine. I mean, I've joked in the past about it being called Scrims Row because it's the map that everybody plays in every scrim. So it's like, oh, we know this map the best. So when it's our map pick for hybrid, Old Reliable comes out Kings Row. But that's even more so the case now that like Rush is starting to be a little bit more predominant in the meta. So especially for a team like Amnesia that is that good at Rush, you're going to be seeing a lot of that. So yeah, no surprises coming out here for what the teams are currently flashing on both of their compositions.
Yeah. On defense, yeah. So it looks like we're gonna actually have like a mirror of last time, but Amnesia starting off with that Bastion, which they had in on the believe the second round of Antarctic Venezuela, and they're gonna be. I think they might actually end up like changing around their DPS a lot more than we may have expected, especially considering how it looks like the Reinhardt and the supports are gonna be something that is more sturdy, something more reliable, just keep running into each other. But it looks like, as the second I plant the Bastion, Spady's gonna be swapping over to that May. It's gonna be a perfect mirror on Kings Row.
Interesting tech there from Dad, by the way, holding both the mouse buttons to not show the shield and be able to peek around the corner there. A little bit of Reinhardt techs. I'm at least like, a Diamond 1 Reinhardt-ish, nice. according to Overbuff, which I haven't actually placed on tank here. But the fight already looking to kick off here. The wall from Speedy comes out, but it doesn't actually isolate much of anybody. It just kind of elevates, as a matter of fact. Clock gonna fall though, so it looks like Amnesia might be able to actually make something out of this. Corviknight does take out Dad, and yeah, another follow-up kill onto Prime, and a little bit of a Cassidy 1v1 here. Corviknight, the better cowboy on this mountain on this day, and Amnesia gonna make a swift capture of point A.
Yeah, that's going to be 45 seconds and a 4K for Corviknight right there. That's some beautiful stuff, and 80% all charge for that window for Luca. Which is very, very crucial to any of the other ultimates, considering Kings Row is very narrow. It's very hallway-like. It looks like Classified's going to be trying to hold it close at that gate, but Amnesia, again, Luca already has that window.
Yeah, a lot of the players on Amnesia are definitely dipping their contemporaries in terms of ult charge at this point in time. Nick and Corviknight kind of neck and neck. Prime a little bit ahead of Speedy, but everybody else on Amnesia is miles ahead. So this needs to be scouted ult tracking wise by Classified. They need to know what's going to come out here and what they can potentially respond with. Early window going to come out from Luca. Going to try and duck and dodge and avoid any of the fire strikes there. Clock going to take out Corviknight though, but the Shatter does come out, and it's a big one. A big counterpin though from Dad, going to kind of stop them the follow-up, but Saga, the bloodthirsty support in the backline, gonna clean up too. That is a freaky frog if I ever saw one, and there's gonna be a charge from Star Platinum to clean that up, and that's going to be another quick fight win for Amnesia.
Yeah, not only kills from Saga, but you can see on that top right some Lucio assists as well. Absolutely going in. So yeah, the aggression, the speed, it's a very different look from last map. There's a lot more flow. There's a lot more reflexiveness coming out from Amnesia. You can see already the kind of frontline setup. They're ready to try and really lock Classified away from them from as far as possible to really secure this point, because they know that now they're coming up on some ultimates, but coming up on some DPS ults from Amnesia. You really want to protect those key players for those crucial times.
Yeah, a true Reinhardt Giga Chad like Star Platinum knows that a Shatter is going to be coming up from Dad, and it is actually blocked. It doesn't find much of anybody, but the window from Clock does. Nobody is able to follow up on that, and both Star Platinum and Corviknight are going to fall, so this looks like it will be where the cart ends up stopping, depending on how long it takes for Classified to clean up the last of these staggers, and Speedy being the last to fall here will mean that the other shoe has dropped, and it's time for the cart to take a little nap.
Hey, sometimes it's time, and you know, it is nighttime's King's Row, which is fantastic. Daytime's King's Row, I have a little bit of mixed feelings, but what are some not mixed feelings are how that fight went. That was some fantastic stuff. Classified only really using about 2 ultimates. Amnesia didn't really actually commit all that too much, so it looks like they're going for a more momentum-based play. They really want to win this fight, then keep it going into a map win or something of the sort. Speedy has that mail, but so does Prime, so it's going to be interesting to see how these beats are really utilized this fight.
Yeah, it is definitely going to be a battle of the maze and the sound barriers. Who uses what first, who gets the most value. It looks like Speedy is actually going to go ahead and let it rip. Saga also going to follow it up with the sound barrier. Prime actually did use the Blizzard as well, so, you know, all 4 of those tools now out of the box and not going to find much of anything. But Dad does get isolated, and Star Platinum going to go ahead and take him out, and that's going to be... yeah, everybody from Classified just backing up. Once they realize they no longer have a shield, Dad's gone to get cigarettes and milk. Might come back someday, I sure hope, but... oh god, it would be nice to have you here right now, Papa, as the rest of Classified fall or retreat, and Amnesia cap point B.
Hey, we're in London. You probably went to go get tea or something, which I'm sure is down the block. I'm never really familiar with the London territory, but we'll be seeing more of it, and we have a lot of time to explore with 4 minutes on the clock, and some ultimates to spare from Amnesia, specifically the kind of shatter difference, which may come up considering both teams are really trying to hold this corner. Looks like Amnesia's going for the aggressive play, though.
Yeah, it's very aggressive window placement from Luca here, and it's going to force a lot of positioning from Classified. They don't find any pickoffs onto it, but Star Platinum actually went a little bit too deep and got punished for it. The window came out from Clock, and everybody just pumped all of the damage in, and nobody could safely peek to try and keep him alive in the fight, and Luca going to fall while the rest of Amnesia are forced to retreat. So another quick fight win there for Classified, but Amnesia, they still have a lot of time in the bank to work with, and they're going to be able to cycle some of these ultimate abilities out and keep this one going.
It looks like still Classified is keeping some of their trademark kind of themes as a team here. Really something that is very good for reflecting in on each other. They're really good at taking advantage of anyone who's a little bit aggressive. They're really good at taking people who are in their kind of quicksand. And Star Platinum, even though he's in it for just a couple moments, deleted, shattered, gone out of the fight. But Amnesia is coming up on 2 very important ultimates, and one is a high noon right in your face.
Oh, they're going to be able to speed boost it right past the May wall and kind of force everyone to do-si-do around the corner there. Yeah, and Nick is now on an island all by himself. The rest of his team has abandoned him for safety, but the shatter comes out from Dad, and that might be enough to save everybody. Nick doesn't get out with his life, but everybody else seemingly will. Classified should be able to hold this one. Dad does fall, though. Luca's still a little bit bloodthirsty, and a couple members of Amnesia still lingering around for a while, but with the spawn advantage, I doubt they'll be able to do all that much. It's only a matter of time. Corviknight is staying alive a lot longer than he should, by the way. I think that's all thanks to Luca, who has now fallen, so Corviknight at this point in time is just a little bit on his own, but the cavalry does come. He does get a little bit of a bailout in the form of Star Platinum there with the shield, and he takes out Nick on the way out. A little bit of a fadeaway shot there to take out the other Cassidy, and that might be enough for Amnesia to go back in once they have Luca, but you know, with the spawn advantage, everybody's going to be back up to full strength here, so it's going to kick off a little bit slowly and going to start to fall on the ults here. About 2 minutes remain for Amnesia. Corviknight going to go ahead and pop that Deadeye, and again the speed boost comes out. The Blizzard from Prime, he ends up falling while trying to pop it, but he does end up trading out, so a DPS for a DPS. That does end up favoring Classified. Dad going to live by the sound barrier, courtesy of RMM, but gets charged out by Star Platinum. Luca has the window, pumping in the heals, pumping in the damage, zoning everybody off, and Amnesia are trudging the cart forward. Yet again, we'll see if anybody here has a touch. It looks like they do. They're going to send RMM in to be the hero and make that touch and take out Speedy for his troubles as well. The Immortality Field going to come out and try and keep him alive in the fight, but he gets just a little bit too far from home, gets punished for it, and we're really starting to see Corviknight pop off here. That's 2 quick easy picks for him. He wants Nick as well, but Nick actually going to get snaked out there by Saga. Dad swapped to the Wrecking Ball to contest, falls, and that's going to be it. Amnesia caps with a minute 15 in the bank.
Cowboy Corvi is the name that Amnesia have chosen to get all the way to that final point, and over a minute at that. I think playing around Corvi is fantastically working for them in a lot of different, unique, subtle ways. Normally see a Cassidy go for these kind of angles, go for these kind of perspectives. You can see the team play around so well as well, the kind of fluidity. You know, you saw they really saved the over there. Star Platinum Tiger coming in to boost him out on the right. Fantastic support play. Oh, Luca picked up too during the kind of end of that fight too. But yeah, Cassie, the kind of focus, the kind of positioning from this Cowboy has been doing absolute wonders. And the way that another kind of accentuating factor for that is what Speedy can then do. Speedy can focus on trying to really shut down Prime, really shut down, you know, Clock. Dad even, in a lot of different ways that allows Star Platinum to really pop off with Saga and Luca backing him up. That was some fantastic stuff from Amnesia, and you cleared it over overtime as well.
Yeah, my eyes right now are going to be firmly on Nick, though, because we did see him pop off on the last map here, and we know he can be just as lethal as Corviknight was on the Cassidy. So which of these two cowboys is going to ride off into the sunset today with a bit of a victory to their name here? Nick, if he pops off in the same way that Corviknight did, and the same way that he did on Antarctic Peninsula, Classified can definitely match this time bag. You know, a minute 15 is not an insurmountable goal. Keeping it above that 1 minute mark is massive and does give a lot of leeway for Amnesia, so they're definitely going to be happy with that. Star Platinum playing a little bit far up here on the statue. Dad, though, going to find an early pick off there on the Speedy. I'm not even sure if that was the intended target, but it is the one he finds nonetheless. Nick going to go ahead and clean up Saga as well, and that should be 2 quick, easy picks for Classified, and that'll be enough for them to cap the point. Luca gonna, take his head as a trophy as he sticks around just a little bit too long, and that's gonna be, Classified cap on the point.
You're talking about Nick being a threat. The entire team of Classified looks like a pretty good threat right now, considering they're on attack, which was something I didn't necessarily think would be too much of a factor heading into this. But as you can see, all 5 members have pressed up now. Both walls coming out. This is some scary stuff. Amnesia are really trying to hold the ground here. They want to try and hold close, or as close as possible to that payload, but ditching the payload finds Classified a pick onto Saga. That's crucial.
Yeah, everybody from Amnesia was already back to full strength, but they, like you said, they do lose Saga very early in the fight, so they can't stick around too long here. They're not going to have that sound barrier charge coming up. A nice counterpin there from Dad and the window to help clean that one up. Star Platinum going to fall, so Amnesia are just kind of bleeding bodies right now. They kind of need to disengage here and just concede some of this payload progress, because it's only going to get worse if they keep trying to stagger this one out. Someone from Classified did eventually go back and start pushing the cart, so it is making some progress now, and it's going to get probably about halfway through here for free.
That was one of the most base King's Row attacks I've ever seen from a team. Just completely ditching the payload, and that was fantastic. It really stopped Amnesia from really setting up anywhere close to the payload. Now they're all the way pressed back to the second point, where Classified's going to be putting in resources. You damn well know. There's some maybe even some ultimates trying to hold this corner. A wall comes out, but it looks like Corviknight's going to try. Oh, gets stunned out of it.
Ooh, Star Platinum again, the Giga Chad Rhyme play. He knew that shatter was going to come out. It finds nothing but shield, and he shatters Classified for their trouble. And there's Corviknight on the cleanup crew to help pick off everybody else. A nice magnetic grenade, but Nick going to go ahead and be a little bit of a diff there. Still alive, or sorry, does actually fall courtesy of Luca there. And ending out the fight there with a little bit of a Cassidy back and forth. But let's talk about this Reinhardt back and forth that's been going on between Dad and Star Platinum. I feel like Star Platinum is kind of getting the better here, but Dad is not necessarily a pushover.
Hey, not to spoil any JoJo, but Star Platinum does eventually become a dad, and hey, eventually finds a pick onto RMM. That's huge. If Lucio's out, you got no speed boost, you got no amps, and in this case, you got no beat. Amnesia's going to be holding the ground here, even slowly walking forward. You know they can't necessarily just run into Classified, given how assertive Classified has been every time Amnesia has gone in. But it looks like in time, RMM comes back from spawn, beats right away, and it looks like this is going to be one hell of a fight.
Yeah, but that might have been a little bit too preemptive of a beat there, because Speedy has this blizzard. He's actually going to go ahead and let it rip here. And yeah, there's no sound barrier to keep everybody alive through this cold, cold winter. Corviknight and Star Platinum going to go do what they do best and clean up the picks there. That is an excellent disengage there from Amnesia. They saw the beat come out, just backed up, and popped their own ults.
Yeah, fantastic stuff, and now you have a beat to even press any aggression. Plus, you have it to specifically counter Prime's Blizzard, which is going to be very key, especially considering Star Platinum has, like 40% faster to a shatter. It looks like Window's going to come out from Clock, but a fantastic wall is going to deny a lot of its value, but it looks like the Star Platinum went in, but Clock's going to find him out.
Yeah, sometimes when you feel like you're winning the Rhine 1v1, you kind of, get a little bit ahead of yourself and go a little bit too deep and end up getting punished for it. And that might be enough for Classified to get their feet back on the cart and start pushing it back towards that checkpoint there.
Yeah, Dad found a lot of ultimate charge, by the way. I called out like, 40%, instantly gained 40% in the span of, seconds. And that's another thing. Amnesia pressing the advantage into Classified. Classified immediately just ate it up. We've been a very strong team of the Classified so far. It's going to be difficult for Amnesia to really try and decapitate this ball comp. But so far, they're doing pretty good on time, and they have a contest here.
Shatter comes out, and Dad actually gonna go ahead and pin Star Platinum off the map. My dad is a Chad, and that's gonna be a nice cleanup there from the rest of Classified. Corviknight gonna fall. Speedy does end up taking out Dad though, so no shields currently in play. We kind of have to try and use the cart for cover. Nick though going really deep. Can he hit these shots onto Luca? Yes, he can, and Clock also gonna clean up Speedy. Despite the Blizzard being invested, that might have been a bit of a misclick there, misinput. We'll call it a misplay regardless to invest that Blizzard that late into the fight though, as Classified are able to weather the storm and cap the point.
Hey, it showed him who's boss. It showed him who's boss. Prime would never do that. No, Amnesia has Corviknight's High Noon, which is, you know, something you can play around. Considering Classified does have 2 ultimates, their support ones at that, they have a lot of advantage they can press, a lot of aggression they can push, so Amnesia is looking to try and shut that down as soon as possible. Looks like they take out Immortality Field, which is big, and hey, they're getting some fantastic zoning value. Amnesia now trying to take this kind of payload kind of position here. It looks like they're heading into that back room. This is some finicky stuff. Looks like Clock's gonna try and press it now with a window, which is pretty uncontested so far, but Star Platinum is coming up on a shatter.
Yeah, the Maywall gonna come out to block a lot of the value out of that window here, and RMM gonna go ahead and clean up that Immortality Field. A lot of positioning being forced back and forth from both sides here. A little bit of a cheeky boop there to knock Star Platinum a little bit out of the way, but he does build up that Earth Shatter, but he has been punished for his attempts to use it there. Nick gonna go ahead and be the one to clean that one up, and Dad also gonna clean up Corviknight. That's your 2 playmakers on the side of Amnesia taken out. Down and out. Speedy just lingering a little bit longer to try and stagger out the cart here, but Classified are going to be able to touch and get the cart rolling, and we're sniffing that golden box of victory now. Amnesia are going to have to swap the stall here to try and make this play, but Star Platinum's been walled off. He might not even get to touch.
Oh man, the Blizzard did come out, but hey, Saga does come in with a beat. Amnesia does come in with a base three very key switches here. Dad is knocked out of the fight. A fantastic Bastion coming out from Speedy. It looks like they are going to try and make a really big bunker kind of hold, which, given this point of the map on King's Row for defense specifically, you're going to have a lot more sustainability. It's something that Classified is going to have a really hard time breaking into, I think.
Yeah, it was actually Corviknight there, the hero, being able to touch there while Star Platinum was just kind of staring at a face full of ice, though. So we're gonna have they do have the spawn advantage, and they will most likely have the predominant time bank here. If they can manage to get Classified into OT, that's gonna be a huge win. And the window is gonna come out from Luca. That's gonna be their tool to try and slow things down here. And yeah, Classified, they're gonna disengage. They know that, especially with a Bastion on the field, you don't want to face check that bush. It's got a lot of threats into it, and a lot of damage being pumped out from that amp matrix. Nick holding onto this Deadeye is actually going to pop it through the window from Clock, but again, forcing positioning. No one going to get caught out by that, but Corviknight does fall a little bit low. Reinhardt, a little bit of a counter pin there. Star Platinum going to fall, but Corviknight takes out Nick. This trade is still going to favor Amnesia despite losing their tank. They have the artillery going to come out from Speedy. RMM gets very, very close, almost, pops a U-turn there, almost got hit by that one, but Clock gets clocked by a shot there from Corviknight. He's hitting all of these all night, and this is going to be Amnesia holding strong. Only 30 seconds left for Classified, and they're lingering a little bit too long here. Prime is inevitably going to go down here, and now you only got 20 seconds to get someone to touch.
This is I just took a breath. These 2 teams have been going absolutely nuts on this last point of King's Row, especially last round too. Even for Amnesia getting a 2/3 is somewhat of a very major achievement. With only 3 seconds left now, not a lot of ultimates. You do have a Blizzard, which is very key. Oh, RMM risks sacrifices just for the touch there, but it looks like the Bastion is going to be coming out at a very crucial, crucial possible round win for Amnesia.
Yeah, and the worst part is RMM didn't even really need to go in that deep because Nick was also there on the Tracer and had that touch. Prime with a little bit of a token Blizzard there just to try and cool things off a little bit, but Amnesia will not be cooled. They are hot on this map, and they end up taking King's Row.
Holy guacamole. Classified even... In those last seconds, you saw they got to switch the Tracer. They're kind of getting to their wits' end there because a lot of those fights at the last point really just didn't, like I pointed out before, once Classified seems to not have that kind of map advantage to really suit their kind of very grouped up together plays. You could see Amnesia was really just able to take that apart once he was able to make use of the rest of, like, oh, we're not going to get totally dove on or totally rolled by like a Reinhardt in your face, or like something like a Lucio getting like a Lucio speeding in someone like a freaking cowboy in your face, and as well as the players too. Holy holy smokes, there's just so much brawl factors and little components for these teams. It almost reminds me of GOATs in a way. But so far, Amnesia, that was some very strong stuff, and especially considering how last map went on in Antarctic. This is something that you really want to see if you really want to win this entire series.
Yeah, it's a lot of the times actually coming down again to these 1v1s, you know, the Cassidy 1v1s between Corviknight and Nick, both of them popping off, fragging out, at times kind of carrying their teams. These Reinhardt 1v1s also very much so dictating the pace, who's getting the better shatter, who's building up to that shatter and using the threat of it to try and force positioning. Who's getting the better of these blizzards? Is it Speedy? Is it Prime? You know, and on top of that, you also have who's using their sound barriers the best. You know, RMM and Saga. Who is it that's going to be, you know, in sync with the enemy Mei ult and using it to keep everybody alive and keep everybody going? There's a lot of back and forth and a lot of parity between these teams in this mirror comp, and I am living for it.
Yeah, the supports you point RMM, that just gave me a fantastic memory. RMM coming back from spawn and immediately beating to try and go, and the aggressiveness from Classified, that's the kind of component I was trying to point out, like supports, and seeing finally like this subtlety come out. Nisha, very more passive support, so you don't see Luca necessarily going in with a very aggressive sort of window. There was a point on Nisha's 3rd point attack where they put a window at the corner, but they didn't really necessarily press pass it. But the second Star Platinum press pass it, immediately punished. So Amnesia totally knows how to hold the grounds. But Classified, it looks like again the aggressivity is going to be something that has been, you know, I'm not saying they got totally like this was not like a total L in Classified books. They nearly had that. It really was down to the wire. So I'm very excited to see what map next comes after the halftime, of course.
Yeah, it looks like the next map is going to end up being Circuit Royale, but we are going to take a quick little halftime break here. Give everybody a rest because, you know, adrenaline might be running a little bit high after this Rush 1v1 that we've been seeing. It definitely brings out the adrenaline. It brings out the testosterone in the tanks, which is something that you do love to see, the Rhine 1v1. And again, all of these other heroes back and forth. We're going to go ahead and take that quick little break here. We'll be back in just a minute. Sit tight. focus a little bit off of the tanks and actually gonna, put it a little bit more on the hit scans. We're going to Circuit Royale instead.
Oh god, if we have any more spotlight on these hit scans, for a fact the Cowboys are gone. Those will forever be in our memories in Kings Row, Antarctic Peninsula. I think we're gonna see some fantastic sniper play considering how brutal the hit scans have been so far. And the projectiles were like Mei players, we might see a Mei come out, given how proficient Classified has been in it. But we might see something that is a little bit more various.
Yeah, but you know what else I do actually want to see? I do want to see some people spamming that exclamation store in the chat to go ahead and get a link to the Tranquility store, get some merch, support some of these teams, help support Tranquility, and help fund this whole shindig in a way. But yeah, going back to it, yeah, we're going to be shining a big spotlight on the hit scan players, like you said. It is going to be, I'm expecting to see some Widow coming out, maybe some Hanzo from Speedy, and, a little bit more back and forth between these heroes. I'm curious to see if there's going to be any subs coming out on either side. I'm not sure if there will be, if we're going to switch to something more Sigma, or if these teams are just going to try and force Rush on Circuit Royale, regardless, just for the fun of it. Definitely one way that you can take a look at things.
Well, here's a good mixer-upper. We've got Baptiste and Zen on the support lines for both teams. Well, obviously Mirror for both teams, it seems. But you're talking about Rush, talking about all these different kind of Rush combos, or like something that more brawl. This is going to be a very big mix-up. It looks like this is promoting a lot of individual play, which thematically, historically, Amnesia has been very proficient at. So for Classified to take them up on this kind of mirror matchup, however, Classified is on defense, Amnesia is on attack, so maybe Classified is going to be having more of that kind of advantage in that kind of perspective. But again, given the team compositions, Amnesia is looking to be quite deadly.
Yeah, keep your eyes on Corviknight, keep your eyes on Nick. We'll actually see if, the Hanzos have anything to add to the discussion, throw their name into the mix as a DPS player to watch, because we've been talking a lot about Nick versus Corviknight, and right now they're in an intense long-distance stare-down with one another, and yeah, Corviknight gonna go ahead and take a little bit of cover here. Cart gonna roll around this first corner as Classified is playing the high ground mostly and just opting to pick at people from afar, really making the most of the sniper comps here. Dante not really able to find much in the way of an angle here. Corviknight does have a little bit of an angle though, and as Greninja starts to push up this corner here, a little low on HP, but this angle does give Corviknight a lot to work with, and some of that spam coming out from Speedy gonna also kind of help pressure things out, but Corviknight is feeling the pressure as well, kind of forced to back off a little bit there, but Classified also going to kind of head for the hills just a little bit here. Going to play around the corner, ditch the high ground, and concede a lot of cart progress to Amnesia so far. And Speedy finally strikes first blood, takes out Nick. Now Corviknight has a free reign to go. Saga going to help clean up Dante. The cart just constantly trudging forward, and we're already about 3/4 of the way through.
I feel so bad for either of these Sigma shields. They just keep popping out, coming back in, and then every time it is out, it just gets instantly peppered by so much damage. It's actually insane. That was a fantastic decapitation from Amnesia right there. Really shaking him off the high ground, but also not gaining the high ground, so that way you can really just keep that momentum going after that initial drop. Some smart stuff coming out from Amnesia. Said it's going to be kind of scary, and to add to that fear, it's going to be quite the ultimate bank, adding onto that 5-minute time bank.
The good news here for Classified is that they did not stagger the fight out and try and go for a last-second desperation cart push here, so now they do still have access to this extremely oppressive high ground. If they can get a pick to help solidify it, they're going to go ahead and pop the window and try and use that to at least get the positional advantage, and it looks like, yeah, Amnesia will kind of back up, so Classified do now have the positional advantage. They can just hold this up here and constantly rain down arrows atop Amnesia and really make them fight for every possible inch, but give Corviknight an inch, he'll take your head off. To ask Nick about that one, as he's going to be Widow Gap there, sent back to the spawn there, and that's, again, a lot of space going to be opened up for Amnesia, and they're going to be able to trudge forward. They're now up at the top of the hill. Speedy going to find another headshot onto Clock, and I think we've only had about maybe 4 or 5 kills go off in this fight, or in this matchup overall, but it's been all Amnesia in the kill feed the whole time, and the card is already at point B.
That was possibly the smoothest 60 seconds of my life. Amnesia, yeah, play that so smart that each kill mattered so much. They really strive with this individual play to such an extent. Every time somebody's down, they know exactly where to move themselves after that. They know exactly how to move momentum, and holy smokes, they've got 4 ultimates after that.
Yeah, and Nick is down once again. He hasn't been able to find a good angle on Corviknight. There's been too much pressure on him, and Corviknight is able to get the better of the Widow 1v1 as a result, but Speedy gets a little bit greedy there. I didn't mean for that to rhyme, but that's just where we are with this now. Classified, they have it in, though, finally. They can start to get themselves on the cart and start to progress with like a 5-minute timer. You know, you don't want to have this cart get capped with that much of a time bank to work with if you're classified. You definitely want to give yourself a little bit of room to work with, but RMM is going to go back to the spawn room, as is Dante, and the Flux going to come out from Greninja, and Nick gets slammed back down to the pavement, cleaned up by Luca. Going to go ahead and be a return fire there from Dad, but it might be too little too late because there's no reinforcements left, and yeah, Dad forced to retreat there. Luca does clean that one up. The support's getting bloodthirsty, and the cart getting close.
Yeah, Dante the Show was being stuck on a little Dante the ad break right there on Tracer. I did not expect such proficiency from Corviknight, especially on the Widow. Really just denying any kind of, oh my goodness gracious, it's not even done there. I can't even get a sentence out, but it looks like Nick finally does find a little shutdown onto Corviknight, but it looks like ultimates now from Amnesia are going to be kind of trying to get this point to the end.
Yeah, that pickoff onto Corviknight might be huge, but it also might be, again, too little too late because the cart is already so close, and now it's in full stagger mode. You're going to have the Transcendence pop from RMM to be able to touch, but you don't want your Zenyatta to be the only one on the cart to try and keep it contested. He does inevitably fall. Dante the Show with a nice pickoff there onto Luca, but gets cleaned up by Saga, and the cart rolls in at 344, which is an eternity in Circuit Royale years.
Oh, yeah, especially on that last point. If you want to have any dream of getting to that final checkpoint that Amnesia did reach with time to spare, 3 minutes 44, as you said, something fantastic. Amnesia, very, very proficient. You saw Classified swap to Tracer, swap to Genji, I believe swap to Ball at the end as well, too. Might be hallucinating from how fast so many momentums was being made. Oh, I love the duck, Any quackers in chat, but... But yeah, it's going to be very difficult for Classified to attack this, considering Amnesia are going to have this kind of ability to really stop any momentum at any time, at any place on the map. Classified, we might see another kind of mirror. Oh, it looks like they're going to be, yeah, it looks like they're going to be kind of expecting Amnesia to be running something more advantageous to their comforts on this map. So Classified going to be having to be the ones taking Amnesia's role historically. They're going to be having to dive a little bit more, be a little more aggressive, maybe even separate and conglomerate in a lot more new ways.
You know, if you're Amnesia though, setting a 344 time bank, you kind of don't really care what Classified come out with. Like, they can throw you a curveball. It really doesn't matter because you have all the time in the world to reassess, readjust, and come out with a counter comp if you really want to. Like, if Classified's not going to opt into the mirror here, then it's really Amnesia's game to lose at this point.
We'll see how it goes. It looks like the doors are going to open, and it looks like Classified is coming out with a plan. Looks like they're going to be running... Oh.
Yeah, there's the plan.
Oh, good heavens.
The plan has been executed. Corviknight has executed Nick in broad daylight.
Yeah, that's fantastic stuff. And it looks like that cart is going to be still rolling. So it looks like Amnesia's going to be very, very in the far back here. Some fantastic scouting from Speedy alerts the rest of Amnesia that's going to be running something very heavy dive. They've got Lucio and Kiriko as a support lineup. And you've got Dad on the Monkey. Some scary stuff. You don't want to necessarily be too far away from everything. You don't want to be too close. And it looks like Corviknight, again, a fantastic Widow differential onto Nick right there. A headshot at that.
It really doesn't matter who Corviknight kills as long as he keeps getting the better of Nick. It's going to open up so much space because, you know, Amnesia aren't going to have to respect the Widow angles that Nick is taking if he's not being given a chance to breathe. And Dad stops breathing as well, going to be sent back to spawn in the cart. Not making a whole lot of progress here. Hey, Nick, popping your head back behind cover there because you know what's waiting for you if you linger around too long without your tank there.
Nick is having quite the time right now. Hey, it's only been a minute. You still got time. Oh, good heavens! You still got time. That's gonna be swapping to a shield tank. A Sigma that is really trying to help out the rest of the kind of Classified. It looks like they're gonna be going a more mirror composition, which they haven't tried yet. Definitely still up in the air for trying to take this advantage. Amnesia has this high ground, but again, like the cart is not necessarily on the high ground, so Classified still has a pretty good chance at trying to find and isolate a target at this point.
Yeah, but as the car kind of rolls underneath, Amnesia are going to have to choose to disengage, and Speedy does take a little bit of damage, but Corviknight finds Dante as they try and push back up. So again, a lot of the shield pressure from the Storm Arrows is no longer a factor. Dad going to go ahead and push up past the shield there, but the window is going to come out from Luca, and a couple of cleanup kills going to come out from that. And the Dragon Strike, I think, just is a little bit of BM, knowing that they can't run from it at all. Speedy going to go ahead and pop that one, take out two, and the cart is going to stop at this high ground.
Holy smokes, Classified's case has been open. Well, now even more open with Corviknight popping the sights. This is some crazy stuff. I'm not even gonna lie. But now the tanks are gonna be coming up on ultimate. I think these fluxes are gonna be huge. You're gonna be able to isolate any target you want, have them open to everybody on your team. That's gonna be very crucial considering you got a minute 40 left.
I see an interesting swap happening. RMM gonna swap off of the Zenyatta and actually go over to the Mercy, so I'm curious if that's gonna be trying to pocket Dante or maybe try and pocket Nick, but if it was pocketing Nick, you can't really heal up a headshot. Speedy gonna go ahead and clean his clock right there, and Greninja gonna go ahead and take out Dad as well. So again, Amnesia are holding strong, and Classified have not really found an answer to it. They do take out Corviknight, and it is Dante actually the beneficiary of the pocket there, but he's got a Discord Orb, which is a giant target on his head, and that's capitalized on. And a Lonely Mercy with her Glock out is not going to be enough to push that cart any further, so it does once again stop at this car wash here, and we only have a minute for Classified to make something happen.
RMM, that was a valiant effort. As a Mercy man, I much respect to that. It looks like the Sigma Fluxes are going to finally be coming out now. Speedy 666 does find a pick on Nick, but the Flux coming out does make Saga have to force that Transcendence. Oh, goodness gracious. Corviknight has not let up whatsoever.
Yeah, Corviknight used Fly and then came down with an Iron Head there onto RMM. Those moves are in his move pool. I checked. Amnesia is not, but those moves definitely are, especially Iron Head. But speaking of Iron Heads, Nick finally found Corviknight's head and does finally punish that Widow 1v1. But again, it might be too little too late. Classified's documents have already been leaked, and Amnesia has them completely downloaded. Even with that pickoff, they don't have enough room to really make much of anything happen. Nick has to find more. He's looking for Luca, but can't quite find the finish off there. Now looking for Speedy, but the cover is there, and the shield comes out. Nick can't really do a whole lot with a big barrier in his face. Dante has swapped over to the Tracer just to try and make anything happen. Nick finds a pick off onto Luca. That might be the one that you actually need because that's all of the healing and the sustain. Dragon Strike going to come out from Speedy, coupled with the Gravitic Flux from Greninja there, though, and that does clean everyone up. Speedy going to also find Nick, and that's going to be where the cart stops, surely, as Dante going to be the last to fall right on top of the cart, about to get run over by it, and that is Amnesia running Classified over on Circuit Royale in dominant fashion.
That's an understatement. Holy smokes! If you're ever wondering why people are saying, oh, I think the meta for Circuit Royale, it's going to be a more sniper favored. They might be running Sigma. That match right there was the perfect example, perfect execution in so many ways I can't even count on my own fingers. That was some fantastic stuff coming out from Amnesia. Fantastic performance. It's spectacular snipers overall. And what really makes it all the more bang for your buck is that it wasn't just about getting these picks. It wasn't just like, a pick comes out from the Widowmaker, it's all over. You could see these teams fight for every last moment as that pick happened. You could see the repositions happening. You could see the alt charges focusing, gaining. You could see them focusing on what abilities to next use, how to press up. You could even see a dive composition come out from Classified in that first half. Really, and that made Amnesia even, back up, play more conglomerated, which is something very scary to note heading into the next map after all this. It looks like Amnesia are indeed comfortable on reflexing in on each other when it matters the most.
Yeah, but it does take a village indeed, but I still think, like I said at the beginning, I'm looking at Corviknight and I'm looking at Nick, and those were the two names that kept popping up in the kill feed, and it was usually Corviknight, headshot, Nick, and over again, you find the pick onto Nick, and then Amnesia have a picnic of their own, just sitting on the cart, and Classified can't do a thing about it. And it's like, again, when you take out that Widowmaker, you don't have to respect the angles. You don't have to be looking and constantly, checking over your head, afraid to get JFK'd, because there's no one there. There's no one lurking. You can still watch out for stray Hanzo arrows, but that's not nearly as much of a threat as a charged up Widow shot. So being able to take out your contemporary is huge. But that said, Amnesia definitely capitalized on those pickoffs very well. Speedy was there to follow up the damage with the Storm arrows, pressure down the shields. Greninja was getting the better of the Sigma battle quite often. There was some comboing ults there, especially at the end with the Flux and the Dragon. So Amnesia, they're looking a lot stronger now and a lot more cleaned up than they did on Antarctic Peninsula. We'll see how clean they look on our push map, which is going to be Colosseo.
Yeah. So my camera got in focus because there was such a heavy vibe from that map. It was just so crazy. Camera couldn't really catch it all. So that, yeah, indeed some crazy stuff. And what better map to really see these teams go head to head? Circuit Royale. It's a very balanced map. It's a very balanced map. You even saw the mirror come out. You saw Classified play something, you know, a little bit more different in the first kind of half. Coliseum, very symmetrical. It's like Circuit Royale to the next limit. So it really can be you know, kind of up in the air as to who wins this one, especially considering, you know, you mentioned Antarctic basically completely forgotten considering Amnesia's performance on that map. Heading into this map, what do you kind of expect from these two teams?
It starts with a B and rhymes with brawl. I'm expecting to see a little bit of brawl. I'm probably going to see a little bit more Reinhardt coming out. Maybe some Wrecking Ball if we're feeling a little spicy here, but, you know, hopefully Classified has a bit of a curveball in store, something that might work a little bit better. And I don't know if that dive that they kind of flashed for a second on Circuit Royale is going to be the answer, but we know that is something now that they might try and go towards if you know, if all else fails. I don't know. I'm kind of thinking that this feels like a Rhine 1v1 type map. Yeah, you're still a little bit blurry there.
You know what? This is the new look. This is the new look.
I just need a new prescription for my glasses. It's fine. I'll get in touch with my optometrist and it'll be fine. Yeah, no, Coliseum, I'm expecting there to be a lot of Rhine 1v1 here. Maybe a little bit of swaps around when one team starts to feel like they're losing it, but I feel like push as a game mode just kind of favors the rush style in a lot of the maps that we have here. So Coliseum, yeah, I'm shifting the focus back to Star Platinum now.
Yeah, which is very interesting. You mentioned before how strong Star Platinum was on the first map, getting a lot of different solo plays, getting a lot of moments to shine, but not really having the rest of the team to really back that up. And especially considering like how detailed that kind of map is, how many different kind of landscapes there are, how many different routes. So on Coliseum, which is something that's more reminiscent of King's Row, something more reminiscent of Circuit Royale, you're gonna have a lot more opportunities to really shine in that kind of role. So with these kind of Reinhardts, I think it's gonna. I do love mentioning the support lines, but as we've seen so far, the DPS from both of these sides have been very pragmatic for each other. So I think giving it kind of more of an even kind of. What kind of DPS do you think are going to come out here?
On this, at least personally, I prefer to see a little bit more long-range hit scan. Not like Widowmaker, but like an Ashe, most likely a Cassidy. If we're going to see the Rhine comps come out, I expect to see a little bit of Mei, especially in that kind of center home stretch sort of deal. But Classified, I never trust the spawn compositions, but if they're gonna flash the Junker Queen here, this might be a little bit of an interesting one here. It might be the curveball we were hoping for.
I hope so. Junker Queen has some nasty lines whenever you pick her on this map. Just some brutal stuff. Totally ready to tear down Rome. And hey, might be actually, yeah, looks like gonna be ready to tear down Amnesia at that. Amnesia gonna be running that kind of composition from Antarctic on that third kind of round, which is something that Classified was actually more, it seemed to be more rehearsed in, but that was kind of a map differential, so to say. But Classified, yeah, you said brawl, and this is gonna be very raw.
I think I see a little bit of a crack in the armor for Classified, though, so to speak. Nick on that Sojourn doesn't really jive with the overall mission that the rest of Classified's composition wants to do. You know, they want to get up close. They want to get some damage with the Hellfire shotguns. They want that Junker Queen at close range to hit the knives, hit the rampages, get the follow-up damage. The Sojourn isn't really conducive to that mission in the same way that the Cassidy and the Mei are, and you can see Corviknight already going to go ahead and take out the Reaper as there wasn't enough damage to really follow through there. And yeah, Star Platinum going to go ahead and get another couple cleanup kills there. And oh yeah, that's another three-piece for the Rhine here. We got to keep Star Platinum's name in our mouth at all times.
Hey, Joe. Like, every time I say Star Platinum, I'm brought back to nostalgic moments of JoJo. Every time I see in the top right, you know, getting those hammer kills. And what better hero to represent that than Reinhardt of all people? Coming up on a shatter pretty fast, some ultimates from Amnesia to really back that up. Classified's Nick is going to be kind of, you're mentioning it is kind of quite the crucial, unique kind of factor. And I think it might actually come to an advantage in a lot of different ways, especially when in this kind of more open part of the map. But we'll just have to see how these ultimates play out.
Yeah, where you kind of have the high ground to your advantage, this Sojourn can be a bit of a threat here, but Dueling Window's going to come out from both Luca and Clock. Ult advantage still favoring Amnesia though, as they were the beneficiaries of that previous fight. Dad a little bit high from the top rope, gonna go for a pin there. That's a swanton bomb onto Star Platinum, who does get cleaned up with the fire strike there. Corviknight though does clap back with that dead eye and takes out Clock and RMM. So despite the heroic plays from Dad, my hero is always been my father. Amnesia is still gonna be the better of this fight. However, Nick actually with a sliver of HP does make a little bit of a comeback there, takes down 2, and they might actually be able to stop the cart here. Dad, you didn't have to do it to him, Dad. You didn't have to go that hard. He's already dead.
That definitely is gonna give one to think about for Star Platinum. Quite the Reinhardt performance right there. And hey, when you've got 2 DPS ults for Classified and a beat, you're feeling pretty confident that you can really shift the momentum in your favor. Amnesia did not necessarily reach that checkpoint, and when you've got Nick in this overclock, you're able to play at a lot more new, fresh angles than Corviknight may be able to. So heading into this, looks like Amnesia's gonna press to start with Speedy's Blizzard.
Yeah, but they don't actually need to invest the sound barrier in order to get away from it. Yeah, Classified, they just hit the brakes, use the speed boost, and get out. Dante, though, gonna fall, and that is another huge shatter from Star Platinum, and the Fire Strike gonna clean it right up there. And maybe you kind of would have liked RMM to invest the sound barrier instead there, because, you know, a couple of big ults came out from Amnesia, and they went unanswered, and that bot is going to be threatening to cap that checkpoint now.
This is all yes for Mr. Joester right there. Some fantastic stuff. That first of all, just very clean shatter. But to note, yeah, the Lucio beats are still active for both sides. Dante the Show does have that Blizzard. Gonna try and make this a movie. Does make everyone kind of zoned off the point. Amnesia is really kind of stuck in this kind of tunnel. Something that's very, yeah. A wall's gonna come up, and that's just gonna get that nice little diff on a Star Platinum. That was a really good kind of zoning maneuver coming out from Classified right there.
Yeah, I mean, it was also a little bit telegraphed, though. In Amnesia, they were able to just speed boost themselves out, and they're still lingering along here in the fight, and they might actually be able to get the cap. No, they don't, actually. It's, yeah, going to be a couple kills coming through. You know, had they choose to invest the ultimates there, they probably could have won that fight, but, you know, not able to. With the positional advantage that Classified had, they are going to end up turning the spot around.
Yeah, hey, lots of ultimate charge coming up too. Very helpful stuff. Nisha kind of stuck in that corner. You got a lot of ultimate charge. You're really just able to get that close quarters kind of, basically a raw brawl right there. Looks like Clock's gonna try and set up a kind of window, but it looks like again Amnesia kind of rotate around it, and even a window kind of in the flank. Looks like a shadow's gonna come out, but it looks like the damage is being done very severely.
Yeah, the window's also going to come out from Luca. Corviknight does actually clean up a kill with a magnetic grenade here, though, and it is Amnesia getting the better of this fight here. Saga cleans up Dante. Hey, Clock, how you doing? Nice to see you. Thanks for coming back to spawn, and the bot is going to turn around again. Classified not making a whole lot of progress, and a really late death there for RMM, so that's going to be a little bit difficult for Classified to get the regroup and really get the contest here going.
I was gonna make it like, oh, it's Clock's, it's not Clock's time yet, but I mean, each time that Classified go head to head with an each, it looks very, very like balanced and winnable for either side up until the very end. It comes down to the kind of rotations, and it's kind of when these rotations happen, when the abilities are used, when exactly you can really take advantage of someone's HP pool. Looks like Nick is going to start with an overclock to try and counter Speedy's Blizzard right here. Maybe pretty helpful. Looks like an Immortality Field is going to be forced out very up front, but looks like the Mei is going to be knocked out from the side of Classified.
Yeah, Speedy gonna get the better of the Dante there and end up cleaning him up there. Shatter come out from Star Platinum, and like we said 1,000 times, it is a big one. This guy is hitting all the big shatters. He takes out Dad, he takes out RMM, and that's gonna be Amnesia finally getting that monkey off their back and getting the cap here of the checkpoint, which is going to be massive as we're about 4 minutes left. Getting that butt scratch animation out of the way, gonna be huge going forward, as the next time they try and contest, it'll be a lot smoother.
Oh, that's a baseball. Oh, that's a checkpoint. Fantastic checkpoint grab for Amnesia right there, and a really good position. You've got this kind of King's Row kind of reminiscence hallway, and yeah, Corviknight, just like from King's Row, is going to pop a high noon right there, and actually does find Clock right there, picks it up with Dante as well.
Speedy get a little bit frightened there, Dad with the charge, but Speedy did have the ice block, able to keep himself alive there, and yeah, Amnesia, you know, able to weather that onslaught that comes in. They have the ults and they have the positioning to do it. You got to be looking at Classified coming in with that that Blizzard here, though, to try and stop this. They have to make something happen.
Yeah, they're approaching your spawn, which does mean you kind of have somewhat of an advantage, but it looks like Amnesia's going to be trying to take that away with Luca popping that window, which again, noticeably hasn't been too aggressively, but just aggressive enough to where, someone like Corviknight can find a nice little pick onto the enemy. Baptiste, who did have window, going to be pretty crucial, but Dante does still have Blizzard, but as I'm talking, the picks are still coming in.
Yeah, Corviknight, finding all the picks left and right. Again, whenever it's not Star Platinum in the kill feed, it's Corviknight. Speedy going to go ahead and stake his claim in the kill feed as well, though. Take down Dad, and the bot is getting ever so close. Corviknight going to clean up a last couple of kills there. It's not a 1v1, Nick. Corviknight's got the whole gang rolling deep here, and the bot is going to push all the way, and Amnesia are going to clean this one up, put Classified to bed, file them away, and take this matchup 3-1.
Yeah, historically in JoJo, Mr. Joester was a fantastic gambler, and when Classified had all their cards so tight on Antarctic Venezuela, really kind of started revealing a lot of different kind of tactics as to how Amnesia could actually start decapitating them. You saw in this final Coliseum, the Brawl was actually kind of taking the advantage of Amnesia. They actually had the kind of like opportunities to really exactly how they went about going about Classified. The momentum was being made in these really niche spots. As you mentioned before, the DPS from Amnesia pops off, but it's not just like, randomly gets a kill. It's very structured from the rest of the team. It's very reflected with the rest of, Speedy. Speedy may not be getting as much spotlight necessarily as someone like Corviknight is in a lot of the necessarily just raw kills in the top right, but the subtleties of that kind of May performance, especially for Coliseum and back in Antarctic, you could see the kind of subtlety plays, how it brings out the rest of the backline from Amnesia, how that goes into the front line, and more importantly, how it kind of starts locking down the targets of Classified to really limit their resources, which allows someone like Star Platinum to get so much value.
Yeah, and I also do want to go back to Antarctic Peninsula, because I think the scoreline, the 3-1 doesn't really reflect how dominant it all was for these teams. Because again, Antarctic Peninsula, it was 2-1, which feels a lot closer than we remember it. But again, I feel like Amnesia kind of Classified didn't win that map so much as Amnesia lost it. Making some of those key mistakes and a little bit of disharmony between some of the players, and just kind of not really managing their resources and their players and their potential all well. But they cleaned up their act on King's Row, and then Circuit Royale and Coliseum were not close. Amnesia definitely the better team, and yeah, I want to go ahead and highlight, once again, this 3-1 scoreline. It looks like this match was a lot closer than it was. Amnesia very much so the dominant team. But again, if you're a fan of Amnesia like I am, or maybe you're also a fan of Classified, and after today they can maybe use the support, or maybe you're a fan of one of our other teams, you should definitely hit !store in the chat and bring up the Tranquility Store. Hey, I forgot to mention the last 2 times I plugged it, there's a 20% off of everything sale going on right now, so if there was ever a time to get your hands on some sweet Tranquility merch, it's right now, so do it literally right now.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely, maybe representing some Amnesia merch, but right now. But brought up King's Row. King's Row was a lot more balanced, and I think the main kind of theme from Amnesia was momentum, which they couldn't necessarily get a lot of in Antarctic, which is maybe why they lost. Their frontline is more reflexive than Classified, and that's obviously not like why Classified lost or anything like that. King's Row was a very, very even matchup, but then you saw in the end, Amnesia was able to make that reflexiveness in their frontline, where their damage is being dealt, how it's being relayed across the rest of the information that's on the screen, the HP bars, and something like Classified. I feel like well, I'll just throw it to you. What's something that Classified was pretty strong at?
I mean, I would. If you would ask me after Antarctic Peninsula, I definitely would have said their hit scan play, Nick, is really, really strong. But I don't know if I can still say that after Circuit Royale. I think I will say that because Nick was still very impressive early on. But, with the team play in the space that Amnesia was playing and operating under, it was kind of difficult for Nick to get much of anything done. So I'm not going to just chalk that up to a Widow diff entirely, so much as just kind of a better team strat diff sort of thing. But as Classified, they do have a lot of strengths here. Dad was at times really, really strong on the Reinhardt. And Nick again was also very, very strong on the Cassidy. And some of the ults that they use and the ways that they use them, their ult rotations, their ult cycling was also still on point there. So a couple things that they will need to clean up in the future, but this is definitely still going to be a team to watch. They look a little bit stronger than we might have expected, but Amnesia looked absolutely dominant. Definitely going to be one of the top teams to watch in this tier. But unfortunately, that's going to be all the action that we have for you. All the action that we have for you today. We're gonna be back with more more Transcendence next week. Be on the lookout for more action here from this tier. Always a pleasure. I've been CB here with McMissile. That's gonna be it for us tonight. Bye bye.
Thank you.